Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sonya Shetty,
I'm Deekshita Todi.
and this is our BioBlitz project for Bio 110's lab. The first organism that we decided to present is our vertebrate, and we chose the pallet tang, which is a type of fish, and we identified it using the Seek app. And the main question we asked was what is an adaptation for survival in its environment? The main one is bright coloration, which is used as a warning slash disguise. The blue tang's vivid blue and yellow colors can help it blend with coral reefs or warn predators that it may not be an easy target. The second one is a sharp spine, which is used as defense, and it has a sharp retractable spine near its tail, and it's used for defense against predators. When threatened, it can flick its tail to slash at attackers. It also has a laterally compressed body, which allows it to quickly dart in and out of coral crevices, helping it evade predators. And it also has something called schooling behavior, which means that blue tangs often swim in groups, which reduces individual risk of predation and increases foraging efficiency. The second question we asked was, how does the organism acquire energy? And blue tangs are herbivores, which means that they primarily graze on algae that grows on coral reefs. They use their sharp, small teeth to scrape algae off rocks and coral surfaces, and that's how they eat and acquire energy.
For our invertebrates, we found the organism Actinia that we identified using the Seek app. Some of its adaptations for survival in their environment include stinging tentacles, which are used for as defense and feeding. These tentacles inject venom to stun their prey, and they also deter their predators. Another adaptation includes the adhesive feet, which is basically a muscular and sticky pedal disc that helps the organism firmly attach to rocks or other surfaces and keeps them anchored even in strong currents. They are brightly colored, that help them camouflage into their surroundings better and ward off predators. Their tentacles also have their ability to retract. So when they're threatened, they can pull their tentacles inward and contract their bodies to reduce exposure. Um, this organism is carnivorous, which means they are predators and they use their tentacles to catch small animals like zooplankton, small fish, and shrimps. Um, they immobilize their prey using their venom, and then they push it to their central mouth where they consume it. They have symbiotic relationship with photosynthetic algae or clownfish, and thus receive indirect nutritional benefits.
Um, the flowering plant that we chose was the Korean spice viburnum, and we identified it using Seek. And an adaptation that like is used for its survival in its environment is number one, it's an aromatic flower, which means it's a pollinator attractor, which means so the scented pink to white flowers are appealing to pollinators like bees and butterflies, which enables reproduction. It also has a deciduous nature, which means it loses its leaves in autumn, which saves water and energy for winter dormancy in cooler climates. It also has hardy growth, which means it's a hardy plant which can grow in a range of soils, loam, or clay, and has tolerance to various environmental conditions. It also has something called dense branching, which is also used as protection. Its bushy, compact growth protects buds and inner branches from wind and cold. So this organism acquires energy through multiple different ways, but like all most plants, its main energy source is photosynthesis. Like all green plants, it uses its leaves to capture sunlight and convert it into energy through photosynthesis. The second one is leaf structure, which means that the broad green leaves maximize light absorption during the growing seasons. The third is seasonal strategy. So, what this means is that during the spring and summer, it actively grows and stores energy. And when it fall or colder climate, it shuts down photosynthesis and enters dormancy for winter.
For our non-flowering plants, we identified the common box and we used the Seek app to identify it. Some of its adaptation for our survival in their environment include the fact that the common box plant is small and has like a waxy coating on its leaves, which helps it reduce water loss and makes it well adapted to dry, shaded, or nutrient poor environments. It also grows in it also grows slowly and densely, which allows it to outcompete weeds and survive in various gardening or woodland settings. This organism, like any other green plant, uh, is an autotroph and it acquires its energy through photosynthesis. Its environmental importance includes the fact that small birds and insects use the dense foliage of these box plants to provide shelter and nesting habitat for themselves, as well as their evergreen nature supports year-round greenery, which helps with soil stabilization and carbon absorption. They are important to humans as well, as in they are used widely in landscaping and topiary. These box This box plant is a favorite in formal gardens due to its slow growth and easy shaping. Historically, its hard, fine-grained wood has been used for carving musical instruments and printing blocks.
For our fungi, we use a thin-walled maize polyper, and we identified it using the Seek app. And an adaptation for its survival in its environment is instead of round pores, like many other polypers, it has an elongated maze-shaped pore. This increases the surface area for spore production and release, making spore dispersal more efficient. And basically, if there's more spores, there's a higher chance of reproduction and survival, especially in environments where suitable wood is limited. And this organism acquires energy through decomposition, which means that it is a saprotroph. The thin-walled maize polyper is important to its environment because it plays a crucial role in decomposing dead wood, which firstly recycles nutrients back into the soil, which helps plants grow. It helps break down fallen trees, clearing space for new plant life, and supports forest health and biodiversity by maintaining a nature balance.
All our organisms were identified very easy with the help of Seek. We were able to find all the different plants and facts about them easily through the app and through general Google searches. The easiest organisms to identify were the vertebrates since we interact with them on a daily basis. But the plants were the harder organisms to properly name. Some advice for future scientists would be to really utilize what you already know.
So for future research, there's a couple questions that we could ask about the Actina, which is the organism that we chose. The main one that we decided on was how might climate change and ocean acidification impact the reproductive success of Actina species in their natural habitats? And based on this, we can the hypothesis that if ocean temperatures rise and pH levels decrease due to climate change, then the Actina species will exhibit reduced reproductive success. And you can see that in the diagram that we brought up, which shows that increased crossing over does increase genetic diversity, but it as time goes on, there's reduced reproductive success due to climate change. And that's a picture of an Actina.
To test our hypothesis that rising ocean temperatures and decreased pH reduced reproductive success in Actinium species. A controlled experiment that will expose four groups of bacteria to different conditions that include current temperature and pH, which will be the control, increased temperature, decreased pH, and both increased temperature and decreased pH. Over the 8 to 12 weeks, reproductive success will be measured through offspring count, development rate, and juvenile survival, with data analyzed using ANOVA to compare the effects of each condition.
And these are all of our references that we use. Thank you so much for listening. Let me stop recording. Uh-oh.